So obviously, poetry takes longer to write than prose. But what are kind of the practical difference between writing narrative prose versus a poem?
Oh, wow. That is such a good question. I guess one of the main differences for me is with poetry, it'll be just kind of a flash of inspiration, an image or a sensation that I want to capture on paper. And then I can usually sit down and finish that, at least a first draft of it, in one day. Whereas with fiction, I really feel like I'm living with these characters in this alternate world. And each day I have to return to it with or without that flash of inspiration. I mean, there are days when it's just trying to build on what you built the day before. So in a sense, yeah, I mean, the work is so different in scale. It's so different in pace. It's so different in the amount of effort, really, for me. Not that poetry doesn't take effort, but fiction is a much more dedicated, like every day, try to make a little progress kind of work. Whereas poetry, in part because poetry doesn't pay my bills, tends to be the thing I can do whenever I'm motivated to. Yeah.
And are you still reading 2 to 3 novels a week, or what are your reading habits like now?
I think I probably am, although it doesn't ever feel that way. I always post at the end of the year on my blog my list of everything I've read that year. And last year, I think I did get through 106 books. So yeah, it adds up. But the funny thing is, I'm not a reader who ever just sits down with a book and a cup of coffee and reads. I'm always reading in between things. Like I'm reading while I brush my teeth, or while I stir a pot of soup, or in the car on a road trip with someone else, or reading out loud to each other. So I just get it done in the bits of time in between things. And somehow I managed to, get a book or two a week in.
And because it's something that you want to do and are fighting for time to do, I guess it probably doesn't feel like much of a chore.
No, I'm never forcing myself to. And I read really widely. So lately I've been kind of on a graphic novel kick because there are so many good ones out there right now, especially in the middle grade and YA vein. And I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of the kinds of things that I don't write myself. So it feels extra refreshing to dip into someone else's memoir or funny essays. Those are two of my favorite genres.
Graphic novels, have you gotten to The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller yet?
Oh, I think it's right behind me on the shelf. I'm trying to remember if I have read that one or not. I might have.
Oh, you'd remember.
Okay, all right. Then I might not have, but I know it's behind me back there. I've got my graphic novel collection right there.
It's one of my 3 favorite books of all time. Anytime somebody tells me I don't read comic books, I will read this. I went to a big book sale once, and I got like 20 copies for $1. So I just got to be Santa Claus with them. Here you go.
I love that. I've done that with several of my favorite books, too. I did that for a while with Anne Lamott's Operating Instructions. Everybody had to have a copy. Oh, and Emily Carroll's, it's also graphic, Through the Woods. Have you read that?
I haven't.
It's so creepy. And I often see it shelved as YA, but it's extremely dark for YA. It's just got a word count that would kind of make it fit in there. But yeah, she is both the writer and illustrator, and it's a reworking of a lot of famous fairy tales, and it is dark and gorgeous.
Well, there you go. We'll make a pact. I'll read that, and you read the Batman book. We'll come back and discuss.
Sounds good.
And